What's the situation if he's going to be out for a while? Do you see like an interim belt? Who would you see in the mix there?
I just don't see him being out that long. It doesn't seem like it's going to be that bad. You know? Believe me, if it was going to be that, he'd be in some serious pain and he'd be, we'd know. I don't think it's going to be that bad.
Where's Machida
Which is
right
amazing
now?
Considering that armbar he was in. That was...
I mean, you filleted him like a Benihana steak over U151 in many ways, but...
of what?
Do I need to translate that again?
Yes.
You filleted him like a Benihana steak.
Did I?
Over 151. In some ways, okay.
See, now I disagree with that.
Okay, I know you do, but that's just an opinion. I don't want to have an argument.
Okay,
with you,
all right. We won't argue.
But do you think all that kind of hatred for Jon Jones, that he's a faker, this, that, and the other, his performance against Vitor Belfort showed the steel, will, and incredible metal of a guy
The armbar.
who wants so his mind wouldn't let his body know that.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Did he not show us something?
Nothing but respect for the fight that he fought that night. Absolutely. I agree. Yep.
So where do you see your light heavyweight division right now, the sort of upper end of it? Because you said Machida's probably lost his contender position for refusing to step in. And
We'll see what happens. Probably going to do... Machida will probably fight Dan. So we'll see what happens. Still working it all out. I don't know.
So you didn't fillet him like a Benihana steak?
I did not. I did not fillet him like a Benihana steak. No, I didn't. I can't listen. And I honestly don't think I went after him as hard as I went after Greg Jackson.
What's it like when you and Greg Jackson actually bump into each other backstage then after just a nod and...
Yeah. Nothing. It's not like this is the first guy I've ever had butted heads with. Me and Tito used to bump into each other all the time. It's not, it's not anything. I don't hate Greg Jackson. I don't dislike him or anything like that. I just don't agree with him.
Would you say you have a problem with, I think you've termed it before, like a Jackson style, like say when Marquardt fought Okami and it's
No, nothing like that. I think he took him out of a fight that was a lot better for him and put him in a more dangerous one. That's what I think. I think Jon Jones' arm would be 100% feeling great today if he'd have taken the other fight. That's what I think.
As much as Sonnen would have been a huge replacement, he's coming off that second round TKO loss to Anderson, and can you really put him in a light heavyweight title shot, even though it's late notice like that?
He was the one who stepped up to the plate. All the other guys that were number one, if you go right down the pecking order, every one of them said, hell no. Then I see a thing today where Machida's like, I want to fight GSP. Where the fuck did that come from?
GSP seems to be kind of popular right now for big Brazilians calling him out.
Him and Anderson makes all the sense in the world. Him and Machida makes no sense whatsoever.
Well, the vibe out of Montreal...
Doesn't that kind of tell you something? Kind of tell you that, everybody was looking for that number one contender spot. Now nobody wants to be the number one contender in the light heavyweight division. Pretty interesting.
How do you get around that?
You don't.
We speak like the vibe out of the Montreal TriStar camp. They don't seem to think that Anderson and GSP is as much of a good thing as the UFC and Anderson seems to think that it is.
George St. Pierre likes it.
Does it?
George St. Pierre wanted the fight. Yeah.
Do you not see Anderson versus Jones as more of a natural kind of a...
I don't know. Yeah, I think that could happen too. I do think that could happen too. I think that, I think Anderson Silva is one of those guys that, he's broke every record in UFC history. I think he's probably, he gets to the point where he's going to want to challenge himself and try new things. Try a George St. Pierre, he says he won't fight Jon Jones.
Because of friends, supposedly, right? They trained once.
Well, I just saw where Jon Jones said something like, what did he say? Something about Anderson's wrestling or something like that. All it takes is a couple of those little things to, it's not like they're best.
If you could make 3 fights in the world now that would sell the most around the world, what 3 would they be?
Shit, I don't know.
2 then, 2.
I don't know. Jon Jones and Anderson Silva obviously would be a big fight. GSP, Anderson would be a big fight. I got to be honest with you, man. I like Bisping versus Anderson. I'd like to see Bisping versus Anderson too. I like that fight. I think that Bisping doesn't get the credit he deserves. Somebody asked me in Toronto, if Bisping fought for the title, could that fight be in the UK? And I said, of course it could be.
We need something like that to tip momentum here at the moment. Is in trueness in a way. In truth, do you not think, John? Would it make a bigger factor?
I've been trying to tip momentum here for the last 9 years, and we've come a long way in the UK with them. I mean, I remember my first trip over here. There were like 10 guys that were training in MMA, and now if you look at the talent that's coming out of this country, it's going to happen. It's taken time, and we've continued to stay here. We continue to work the TV deals, and I know the TV deals are never, they're never the deals that everybody wants over here.
By having your own channel on the Sky platform, or which is part of Fox Network, obviously.
This stuff does not happen overnight. I mean, we've been working here diligently for years, and we will continue to. This is a great market. I love it over here. I mean, when you look at if you think of some of the best fights and some of the biggest fights we've ever done, and when I say that, I'm talking about the fight, the fans, the energy. Some of the top fights we've ever done have been in the UK and in Ireland.
Brian Stann said this week that after the fight, apparently you told him that you thought he beat Bisping?
Yeah.
You did? Right.
I thought he won the third round. I had it 1-1, and I thought he won the third round. It was close. I told him, and Bisping was walking. I told Bisping, he goes, "What'd you think?" I said, "I thought you lost the third round." He goes, "I can't even get to my fucking locker room, and you're telling me you think I lost the fucking fight?" Yeah.
That's why we.
Hey, listen, I'm honest. I'm always honest. I tell you what I think. I had it 1-1, and I gave Stann the third, but it was close. It's not like this, holy shit, this is crazy, the judging is terrible. It was that close of a fight that it could have gone either way. That was just the way that I scored it.
So you personally, you seen Bisping kind of just ahead of Weidman there in the contender stakes?
Yeah, I think Bisping and Weidman, the thing that really put Weidman over, he beat Maia, then he comes out and destroys,
What's Joe's thinking on? Are you able to speak for Joe Silva? What's his thinking on?
He's right there. I'm thinking on what?
I'll ask him afterwards.
Yeah.
On Bisping and Silva. Bisping and Silva.
Yeah.
Does he like it?
Yeah. No. He and I were talking about it the night of the fight. Yeah, he likes it too. We both like it. Yeah, we were talking about it in Toronto.
You're waiting for George after Carlos to see if there's a super fight potentially. Is that why you're waiting to announce something?
For what?
For Anderson. You're waiting to announce something because you're waiting to see what happens with George.
Yeah.
So in theory, Condit could lose to George, but then fight for the vacant title if George goes on to fight Anderson.
So Condit could lose to George. No, what'll happen is George and Anderson will fight at a catchweight. It'll really just be a pound for pound type fight. Like who's the pound for? Because right now, first of all, I think that, and you guys all might have your own opinions, I think that Anderson Silva is the #1 pound for pound fighter in the world. Well, you go north in America, and everybody up there thinks that George St. Pierre is. And you get a lot of people who think George is, and a lot of people who think, so it would be more of a pound for pound type fight, you know what I mean? Bonnar's one of these guys that this fight means everything in the world to this guy, that he's getting this fight. He felt like, he's been on this 4-fight win streak, and felt like there was nothing there for him. Like he wasn't. He feels his career's winding down, and he never got his big moment. He had it with Forrest, lost that thing by this much, and now he's getting this opportunity.
Have you been following the thing between Dan Hardy and Matt Hughes? Have you seen this? No. So Matt Hughes is he's into hunting, likes going, fishing and hunting and shooting animals and stuff. So he goes to Africa with his son and shoots like zebra and wildebeest and all these African animals, posts it on his blog. Dan Hardy sees it, starts letting rip, can't understand why anyone would go to Africa, and the two really don't like each other. Dan's very kind of, called him a hypocrite, and
the shots of them, him and Matt and his son had shot a zebra, a wildebeest, an okapi, there was like about 15 animals, like big ones. And Dan had an issue with it on kind of moral grounds. You call yourself a Christian, blah, blah, blah. And he's kind of calling him out. He said, I'd like to knock him out for that.
Now, Hughes is winding down in his career right now. Dan's still active. But did you see, if that beef develops a little bit and Dan keeps winning?
I want Hughes to retire. Yeah, Hughes has nothing left to prove. I'm not into shooting animals either. I'm not a hunter or not into that stuff at all, but, you know, that's what you're into. If you look at the guys who helped us build this company, Hughes is one of them. The Chuck Liddells, the Hugheses, it's hard to finally say it's over, and, you know, I'm hanging it up and it's
he
done.
doesn't take another fight. I mean, how is he going to know that it's over? You know what I mean?
He's with us forever anyway. I mean, Hughes is one of our guys, you know. He's not going anywhere, so he can keep the door open forever.
Brock Lesnar. All sorts of rumours floating around. Anything happening? Any talks? Any developments?
Well, that he may come back at some point and have one more fight in the UFC.
He's not happy pro wrestling, and he might want out, and he might want to come back. And
Do you have any clause
rumours
with him, or?
That's what he said.
Rumours like the Wrestling Observer, you know, the pro wrestling media. Yeah.
I don't know.
There's no contractual clause that
No.
he may come back for
No.
one more, or nothing, is there?
No, nothing. No, his deal with us was done, and that was it.
Would you have him back if he wanted to come back?
Sure. I'd bring Brock back. If Brock wanted to fight in the UFC, I'd do it.